Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue has put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
Stop. Just stop. Stop the music. Cut it. I made a request to the others listening to this pod as I record it to just keep their mics muted. Here's the deal. You don't care about Marquette basketball, this doesn't apply to you. And for the love of God, why are you listening to this podcast? This, today, is a selfish endeavor. Now, I've stayed quiet to the point of hypocrisy about Marquette basketball. Not quiet in the sense that you haven't heard me talking on here, but quiet in the sense that I haven't gone to the dark places that Marquette basketball Twitter is right now. I've come on here and tried to rationalize their struggles. Hell, I've defended it at times. I've buried my head in the sand because I just don't want to be the guy that comes on somewhere. I mean, who the hell am I, right, to come on and call for somebody's job, right? I'm a nobody. I know that. But everything that I come on here to talk to you about today is about this program and not one person. And how yesterday's loss to DePaul was a colossal microcosm of this program. We have all been frustrated for the last 6+ years for a lot of different things. I have never in my life, as a Marquette University graduate and as a Marquette basketball fan, feel like I do right now. And it goes way beyond whether this team will make the tournament this year. They won't. It goes way beyond whether Marquette will make the NIT or not. Maybe. What this is about is the growing epidemic of apathy around this program. But even saying that, losing to DePaul holds a special place in the hearts of all Marquette fans. The egregiousness it brings out is a special kind of fury that borders on irrational. It's not because they're a rival or they have some dislikable coach that you just love to beat, like Boeheim or Calhoun was back in the day. DePaul basketball has been an embarrassment for its now 15-year affiliation in the Big East Conference. Let me repeat that for you. Embarrassment. They haven't made the NCAA tournament in 17 friggin' years. Since joining this league, they've finished last 9 damn times. Last season was their first winning year in a dozen years. Losing to DePaul has been, will be, and right now especially is, today, January 24th, 2021, as I record this, an embarrassment. But here comes the rational curveball you weren't expecting. It's bound to happen, and I can live with it. No basketball team beats the same opponent all the time. Dumb things happen. You know that. I know that. No, you don't want to lose to DePaul. But it's going to happen. Here's the bigger issue. After last night, Marquette has now lost to DePaul 3 times in the last 4 years. This accounts for 20% of DePaul's conference wins in that stretch. The Marquette Golden Eagles make up 1/5 of DePaul's conference wins. It's unacceptable. If you're looking for me to come on here and talk defensive philosophy or why Dawson Garcia only took 4 friggin' shots, while valid questions, to me, you're asking the wrong questions. We're not even on the same planet right now. Marquette men's basketball has flirted with this dangerously for the last couple stretch of years, but I think they're there now. And like I said at the top, it's apathy. Apathy is a program killer. We started to dive into this topic a couple weeks ago after the loss to UConn on this podcast, but I think it needs to be said again. Regardless of what era you came into loving Marquette basketball, whether it was McGuire in the 60s and 70s, and God love you if you guys are listening to this, their continued strong play into the mid-'80s. Maybe it's the blip of relevance under Kevin O'Neal in the 90s, or for most of us, under the age of 40, it's Tom Crean, the 03 Final Four run, right? Wade, Diener, Novak, the James McNeil, Matthews era, Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, Buzz Williams and his ridiculous sideline antics. The through line for all of those different people and eras that I just described was an outrageous work ethic, toughness, defense, and the biggest thing, and it's always easy to say this when you win, but it was true. I was there, at least for the last part that I just said. It was fun. Sure, fans always wanted a little bit more. I wanted James McNeil and Matthews to go deeper into the NCAA tournament. They never got out of the second round. They were fun. Those games were must-attend and must-see TV when they went on the road. Anybody that was there knows that. Sure, as fans, we always want a little bit more, but I think for the most part, the overwhelming sense of this fan base would describe following this team as fun. And what's happening right now isn't fun. Of course, losing sucks. But losing, when it happens and you can see the potential for bigger things, you can swallow it a little bit better. For those of you thinking that this podcast is building to its logical conclusion, you're not going to get that satisfaction with me. For reasons outlined 1,000 times over, I'm not going to go in depth, but here's the cliff notes. This university is in financial peril due to the present state of the world. And if you think they're paying a massive buyout for a basketball coach, you are friggin' nuts. And believe it or not, your support or lack thereof for Steve Wojciechowski and his coaching staff is no longer the biggest issue facing this basketball program. It's apathy. Apathy among its students, staff, and alumni. And that will cause more damage in the long run than any one loss to DePaul. But since the loss to DePaul was only 24 hours ago, it still friggin' hurts. Now, I will stand on here and tell you that I have not given up when all the evidence is to the contrary. I think there is talent on this team. I think this talent can win. And as someone who proudly says, I went to Marquette University, and I obviously support Marquette basketball, I genuinely hope they do. But I would be lying if I said my day-to-day interest wasn't waning. And another home loss to DePaul certainly doesn't help. I don't have much more to say beyond that. This podcast will return later this week after Marquette's next game. We apologize for the lack of recent post-game reaction pods, but I think I am correctly reflecting the general mood and opinion of the other 4 contributors to this podcast because it just doesn't feel worth it right now. Hopefully, that changes. I'm Brian Henry. This has been the Real Chili Podcast. We'll talk to you later this week. Go Marquette.